Sarah, thank you so much for coming along today and doing this interview with me. Now, you worked with me on one of my 12-week programs. So tell me what was happening in your life before you worked with me. What were you struggling with and what your challenges were, and the moment that you decided that you needed to reach out?
So I came to Mandy when I was struggling with lots of different ideas and goals, and I had all these big dreams, but I just didn't know how to put them into practice and how to prioritize. That was the first thing. The second thing was I was struggling with lack of confidence. I had lots of things that I wanted to do, but I really felt like my confidence was low, and I really needed to work on some mindset techniques, which is really why I chose Mandy, because I know that's her particular talent, is working with beliefs and really like pulling at them and seeing how she can help you shift them in a kind and gentle way, but she's also very firm. So I had researched quite a few coaches before I hired Mandy, and I chose her particularly because of that skill that she has and demonstrates across her platform. I just am a firm believer in getting help when you need it. I think it's the best investment you can make. If you're somebody that has big goals and dreams, I think an objective coach is the best way to help you get out of your head and start taking action. So it wasn't a question of should I get a coach for me, because I just think that at some point everyone would benefit from having a coach. It was just a question of who I chose at that moment for what I needed, and I chose you.
Because I was an athlete, so I've always had a coach, and most of my, creative entrepreneurs, as you are, realize the benefit of having someone. So tell me a little bit about the journey with me. What successes did you have, and what were some of your greatest insights?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I think I've moved so far forward that it's quite hard to actually remember where I've come from. But I think the fundamental things that have really stuck with me are that we all have this innate ability to change the way that we think. And the neuroplasticity of the brain is so phenomenal. And what I've learned through working with Mandy is so many really cool practical techniques to shift beliefs that have been holding me back. Um, as a thinker and a creative mind, I've always tried to fix things by thinking about them and running them through my mind and analyzing them and trying to get the answer that way. And what I loved about the work with Mandy is she just knows exactly what point in that blurb of all my issues, she'll pick that one thing and go, right, that's the belief. We'll work with that. And we pull it apart. And now she's also taught me how to do that for myself. So that would be, I guess, the key thing I've taken from the coaching. And in terms of how far I've come, I'm now running a whole new business with a whole new source of energy and passion and skills. So I'm a lot happier. Bottom line, I'm a lot happier and a lot more peaceful, which was really what I was after when I went to see Mandy.
Yeah, and that's sort of something that's so difficult to quantify, but ultimately most humans want to have their own level of achievement and accomplishments, and we all want to feel fulfilled, have a purpose, have meaning in our life, great relationships, and be happy. And really, that's probably one of the ultimate outcomes of my work. But what I'd love you to tell us a bit about, Sarah, because your business that you already have, and you were doing a coaching course, and tell me a little bit about that, and now how you pulled that together and what you're doing now. Because
Okay, thanks, Mandy. So very briefly, I've run a very successful company for 13 years in a PR marketing space and built that company up to a point where it's a relatively passive income. So I've had the time to study and explore lots of areas of life, but I've also gone through some really tough times with my family, both my parents passing away. And in that time, I started to rely on alcohol as a crutch. when I came to Mandy, I'd actually quit drinking, and I'd gone through quite an intensive experience in a rehab to do that. Even though I wasn't what one would consider a stereotypical alcoholic, I was just somebody that was drinking too much for me. And when I was in that situation, as I came out of it, I was really deterred and disappointed by the language and the tone and the words that were being used around people that had a bit of an issue with drinking. So what I've done now, I started Sober Sommelier, which is a fun Instagram page, which is all about alcohol-free alternatives for discerning drinkers, so that we can drink like grown-ups but not have to deal with the downsides of the alcohol. I also have a website which I built just over a year ago now, which is a resource, a free resource for anyone that's sober curious or looking to cut back or quit. And I'm now building a whole nother website and running rooms on Clubhouse. And what I'm really passionate about is just getting this conversation into mainstream and getting rid of the stigma and the fear and the shame that people have around drinking, because it does affect most of us in Australian society on some level. And if we can have that conversation in a more uplifting and interesting and curious way, as opposed to judging and depressing and a dark conversation, then I think people have more of an opportunity to explore it, and also be compelled to consider that they could have a really, really great life without alcohol, which is what I'm experiencing now.
And which is awesome. So can you just tell me the name of your website so people can, make a note of it, please?
So at the moment, it's soberupside.com.au. But I am, thanks to your help and all the coaching we've done, there's a rebrand happening, and there'll be all sorts of exciting things. But if you keep that in mind, everything will be directed through soberupside.com.au.
So, alcohol is one of the most destructive drugs that there are, and I know you know that, and I think it's a fantastic message that you're sharing. And just tell me the other thing you've got, if that's okay, unless it's a secret, you've got a great big launch happening, I believe, something really exciting in July.
Yeah, so June actually. The middle of June, I'm holding the first alcohol-free cocktail night for ladies in Sydney, and bringing together all of the key influencers in the space that I've connected with over the last 12 months but have never met. So this event is open to everyone, and anyone that's curious about trying alcohol-free alternatives. Got some great sponsors. It's going to be such a fun night. And the idea is it's in the lead up to Dry July, so that people coming that might be considering even just having a month off can come and explore the alternatives that they might want to try during that period when they're not drinking alcohol. So like you say, Mandy, I mean, for me, it's not about people quitting. I mean, I have no interest, or no vested interest in how much people drink or don't drink, and I have no judgment. I just think that we can have this conversation in an exciting and compelling and interesting way, so that people that do know in their hearts that they're drinking a bit too much can find a friendly alternative and people that they can connect with without feeling shameful, because look, we're all human, right? And we've all got our flaws and our challenges.
Oh, look, and I know, there's so much, I'm sure so many companies, corporate world, lose days on productivity, and there's a lot of problems, especially over COVID. I had so many people reach out because they got into really poor habits. So I think it's phenomenal, and I know we're going to see so much more of you out there, and you're going to be an absolute authority in this field. And I guess from my perspective, it's been a pleasure and a complete privilege and an honor working with you. You're such an authentic, wonderful person. And I hope that when other people listen to this, they realize that when they can get out of their own way, clean that stuff that you can't see, find somebody that helps them, that they connect with, because that's really important. Anything is possible. And I know you're destined for so much more. finish.
Just a couple of things, just to your point about the corporates. So that's another thing that I've achieved with the help of Mandy, just in terms of my confidence. And I've been invited now to speak at a large recruitment firm on Friday, to present to them some ideas around how they can reduce alcohol, and also take in some alcohol-free alternatives that they now want to incorporate into their bar fridges in their offices. And to me, what a shift. Like, that is so progressive, because like you say, Mandy, the productivity, the harassment claims, so much negativity comes in these companies off the back of people drinking too much. So it's a slow process, but just slowly educating. And I think the thing is giving people good alternatives so that they can make better choices. So that's that thing. The other thing I would say for anyone considering hiring a coach, I would highly, and I'm not saying this, she's not paying me, I'm not getting anything free, but Mandy's extraordinary. What I love about Mandy is she has an amazing combination of being able to be really practical and pragmatic, but she also brings a heart-centered approach. And I think that's quite rare in my experience, because usually you get your Tony Robbins or your Tara Brach, and I feel that Mandy's got a really nice balance of being very practical and pragmatic, and allowing you to be very action oriented, but making sure that that action really comes from a deeper place, so that that action is sustainable, as opposed to just setting goals for, and ticking them off a list. So I'm eternally grateful and now, but I've had an amazing time with Mandy, and I should definitely be keeping in touch.
Absolutely, and likewise, it's been my privilege too. So thank you, Sarah, so much, and we look forward to what's next, hey, and the next instalment. And
Thank you, Mandy. I've really appreciated working with you. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thanks, Sarah.